Good morning from the city of Coburn, or as I like to call it, Friction Penis. And as the Google Maps woman says, Cockburn. I know, over 56 years old and still such a 10-year-old. Thought somebody was scratching at the door, but no, that would be T2, the cat. What a character. What an absolute character. Follows me around like a dog. Greeted me when I arrived. The dog, nowhere to be seen. I spent about 20 minutes looking around, freaking out, like everything was locked up. But I couldn't find the dog. And so in the end, I didn't want to, but I texted the owners to say, because I've seen this syndrome before, has T1 got a hidey hole? Because I can't find her. As soon as I did that, I thought, well, that's almost the equivalent of saying a prayer to St. Anthony or retracing your steps or all those things that my mother did did and advised people to do if they lose something. If you ask somebody, where is such and such in your house, and then put the phone down or the device down, next thing I went, of course, walked into the bedroom, got down on hands and knees and saw two little eyes poking out from way, way back at the end of the bed. Fair enough. So I straight away got on and said, no, found her. About an hour or so later, I'd skimmed through the notes that the owner, God love them, had sent me on email. And these notes are written so succinctly, so to the point. Look, I'm not going to say I agree with everything about the way that they do stuff, but that's okay. Don't have to. It's not my place. It's not my circus. It's not my cat or dog. But anyway, right down the bottom, there was a bit, if you can't find T1, under the bed. Right. So what was the point of all this? It's Saturday morning, and this is the first time I've spoken, never mind the fact that I've been up for about 2 hours. It's a funny old day. I had about 7 hours sleep last night with one quick wake up to do what old men need to do when you're 56 and a half and your prostate's a bit dicky. Pun intended. Get to the point. So I am showing you my legs for the first time. When I say you, I don't expect that you've been watching any of my other stuff. However, if you have, I've made a point of not showing my legs for the simple fact that they're not for looking at. And I have got a real issue with people who, without any warning, put up pictures of their wounds. However, I reckon I can get away with it because of the slight glare off them and the fact that they are currently coated in Manuka honey. Now, I've been sitting here with my feet up, and usually I can't do that for very long because I lose the circulation, but at the moment it's quite fine. Now, I have got one major, unexpected risk factor involved in my peacefully sitting here. It's only about 18 or 19 degrees and I'm in the shade, so it's even less. Tell a lie, they do take the readings for temperature in the shade, allegedly. However, and as I've been saying, I've been here since the 12th of April in Western Australia in the Perth Fremantle region, and I have been freezing my tits off. And people, locals are saying things like, oh, it's so hot, it's too hot, I can't get over the heat. And I just look at them and say, what? I've been freezing my tits off. What? How could you? How's that possible? Quite easily. And the fact that I've been freezing my tits off is primarily responsible for the fact that my legs are in this awful, awful state. And they are bad. They are BAAAD. Not in a good way. And as I've explained to some people, it took me a long time, and my doctor and I really couldn't work it out at all. But I knew for a fact one thing. Because I have to wear long pants so often, what I'd done was I'd given myself a defoliating effect on the right-hand side of this leg. Strangely, not so much on this one. A little bit, but not so much. I'd worn off all the hairs. And that to me was just a bit of a fun until I looked down at my leg, this part of my leg, one day and realised that I had all these little, it looked like infections. And they were. Cut to the chase, long story short, it took us, after I had taken a course of antibiotics, taken some steroid cream, neither of which worked. We had by that stage established that I had folliculitis, and I have some form in this area because I got folliculitis back in 2020 in Darwin, when I went out one day to Palmerston. We were in lockdown, but Darwin had some exemptions and what have you. I was in the media, I went out and did a lot of walking to go to Palmerston. Basically, I needed to go to the police station, and all of the police stations in Darwin were shut for walk-ins, and I needed to go and report something. So I got myself out to Palmerston, and then I walked from the town centre out to the police station, and in the course of doing that, wearing a lovely shirt which was sewn not Darwin, certainly not in that ridiculous heat, and what time of the year are we talking? May, so not really overly hot. Must have been earlier. Anyway, bottom line is I was wearing a shirt which says on the label, wash before you wear. And what I did was I incubated my chest, gave myself folliculitis. That happened, the walking out to the police station happened on the Wednesday. On the Saturday, I was out at a place called Marlowe's Lagoon, if I remember rightly. And I looked at my chest and I thought, oh my God, I'm getting shingles. An hour on the phone to the 1300 nurse hotline, I call it. That's what it comes up on my phone, nurse hotline. It's a 24-hour free medical service with accredited doctors. It's a private service but contracted by the federal health department. We worked out that I had folliculitis, and then from then the treatment was very quick, very effective. So that's the state of play at the moment. Now, even though that doesn't look too bad at the moment, especially on this angle, the back of my right leg, so my right calf, is not good. I've been treating it with all sorts of stuff, and what I've done is, in the process, I've really burnt the skin. And as anybody who's had burns knows, when the skin grows back, it becomes taut and tight like the skin of a drum, and that makes walking a wee bit difficult. So I'm using a whole bunch of different things, and if it gets to the point, and it may get to the point on Monday where I have to say, well, I think I need to go back to the quack. Probably can't get in to see my doctor on Monday, but I'll get to see a doctor, and maybe I need to do something else. And if I need to go down to Nunup Music Festival with another course of antibiotics and I can't drink, that may be a very, very, very good thing. All right, and that's enough for now. Some other things. I'm mopping up a whole bunch of stuff before I leave for one mother of a road trip starting on Wednesday, the 1st of March. The 28th to the 1st of March, look, it's going to be difficult for a whole bunch of reasons. Sorry, it may be difficult for a whole bunch of reasons. For those who don't know, I've lost my teddy bear. I've got a fair idea where I lost it, but because I go here, I go there, I've been slowly retracing my steps, but I haven't really done a methodical step by step process. That's telling me that in 3 hours' time, I'm going to be at the Perth Writers' Festival. That's what that is. I don't even need to see it. Right, so I haven't done the real methodical thing, mostly because I had a few distractions, a few interruptions, a few face aches in my face. So I'm upset but not distraught. So I'm working through it. That is the current copy of Trad Now magazine. There's a whole story about the previous edition. There's a whole story about this edition. My publisher and I, at the moment, are a little bit at loggerheads. It's happened so many times. We've been we've known each other for 16, 17 years. I've been writing for him since December 2006. That whole relationship's changed for a whole bunch of reasons to do with the ownership of the magazine, to deal with the way it's published, where it's published, how it's published, and the staff that he uses. So we'll get through it, but at the moment we're a little bit not exactly 11 paces and muskets raised, but let's just say I've got the glove and I've slapped him a few times. Never mind the fact that I'm trying to fill his panniers full of gold for other reasons. That's another story for another time. Today, in the next 3 or 4 days, there'll be a whole lot of content coming out through Tradden Now on Facebook, which is a Facebook page that I created. Don't have full rights to at the moment, but any content you see from Tradden Now in the last little while has been 100% from this guy. Anyway, moving on. That's my Contain Bow hat, which gives me great joy. Firstly, it opens so many doors at the Fringe World, because Fringe World Festival this year, I'm going to say most years, it's a bit gay. It's a bit flamboyant. It's fabulous. So when I got around doing meet and greet and g'day, how you going at Fringe World Festival wearing that hat, I'm going to say the conversations started a little bit easier. Because take the hat off and you've got a shaven head, old man glasses, fat, old, I said already. You've got a cisgender male who does have ERFS, thank you Mel Webb, unfortunate resting facial expression syndrome, bitch face, resting bitch face. So I am a happy guy. I'm gregarious, outgoing, which is just very quietly not my default position. It's very much a forced thing, and I'm happy to force it and have been forcing it since I was about 10 years old. So there's that. I had the most amazing conversations at Fringe World Festival with total randoms, muggles of all shapes, sizes, denominations, creeds, credos, genders, persuasions, predilections, so many. And ages. Was talking with some adults, a bit younger than me, and they said, oh, the kids are around here somewhere. And the 3 kids, all of them minors, caught up with them. In the end, it was the parents saying, come on, kids, because these kids and I were talking music and we were really getting into it. Oh, dear. Unbelievable. I love it. I just adore it. It gives me youth. Let's try again. That's the wrong word. It gives me energy. Interacting is my, whatever the opposite of kryptonite is. Oh, okay, here's the point of the story. So I'm slathered in Manuka honey. However, the biggest risk factor to my sitting here, as I have been for the last hour or so, with my feet up, and not really losing that much circulation because I've got my knees bent. So there's that. The biggest risk factor, I've had to use up every last drop of that because there was a big fuck-off bee who wanted to come to the honey and could not be dissuaded. I blasted him over here. I'm saying he, them. I blasted them. I've got no idea of the gender or how they identify. And to the point where they got almost down to my foot. And then I thought, oh, I don't want to get it on the honey. And then I realised, wait a minute, that's water and lime juice. Yeah, let's have some of that. And I was looking for something to clean the honey off my hands. This thing was leaking out the back. And then I realised, oh, it's water and lime juice. That's what I use anyway. Far too much fun. It's coming up to 15 minutes. I think that's more than enough for now. It's Bill Quinn from the city of Cockburn saying, I'll see you when I'm looking at you, and bye for now.